interpretation too, because you could be bringing in, like you were talking about, the same HS code. People are looking at no problem, and then you have that one person that interprets it a different way and could cause a problem. I'll give you an example. This is
Lunch with lunch with lunch with.
Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to have a wide open discussion about just different things that I've learned over the last few weeks. Now, we do have a guest scheduled to show, but he hasn't shown yet. So fingers crossed. And if he does show up, we're going to be talking about AI and shipping. But for the time being, let's get set to talk about some of the interesting things that I've learned over the last 3 weeks since I've been traveling. All right, Kelsey, hit the music. Okay, so over the last 3 weeks, I've been traveling around everywhere. But for the most part, I spent some time in Austin, Fort Lauderdale. Now I'm up here in North Carolina. And just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I've learned. There's been a lot going on, and especially some of the higher level. It looks like we have somebody on here. Okay, so it looks like our guest may have arrived. How about we just stop right there, and we'll go back to the podcast. Kelsey, is that correct?
Yep, we are good to go. We have a new guest, so we'll be talking about the same topic, I believe. But yeah, we are good to go.
Okay, so scratch everything I just said there. Today, we are going to be, let me go back here. Today, we're going to be discussing freight forwarding in 2023, navigating the future. What's the future role for sustainability in freight forwarding? And how do AI, blockchain, and data analytics reshape supply chains? Also, we're going to be touching on how does AI optimize shipping operations. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, and now we can get into it. Kelsey, let's have a word from a sponsor.
Facing cash flow challenges with your e-commerce business? Discover Viably, your ultimate financial ally. From real-time sales data integrations to immediate funding access, Viably is here to support you. Plan your growth with their free tool for online sellers and engage with specialists whenever you need. Extend your cash flow with Viably.
Hi, good day, Norm.
Hi. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very, very much. I'm very, very sorry that it was such a surprise. But our founder, Rafael, was unable to arrive due to personal circumstances. So he asked me to step in, as a placeholder.
Okay, very good. And your name?
My name is Dune. Very, very much like the book by Frank Herbert, or the sand dune and the desert or the beach.
All right. Okay, I got that. All right, Dune. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about a little bit about automation, robotics, impact warehouse. How do automation robots impact warehousing and cargo handling right now? And then let's take a look in the future.
Okay, great. So, well, I mean, right now, robots are being used every single day. Across the world, and the use is starting to get even more prevalent. Much more use out of it. Today we mostly see robots, just working independently as they are. And in warehouses, they usually save time because they don't take breaks. That's probably one of the nice things about robotics, and it actually streamlines a lot of the processes. And one could say that it does remove a certain amount of risk out of them. A robot isn't going to arrive late to work, and along those other things. So mostly time saving and quality that you can repeat. You know exactly what you're getting. You program it, and it will essentially do as you wish, to the letter. No yes, no no, no if, no but. That's
And
But-
it's consistent, I would suspect as well.
Excuse me, sorry?
And it would be consistent.
Yes, of course. Consistency, in fact, consistency in logistics and warehousing and everything like that is actually the key to success. Because everything is timed. Everything, although it is different processes, every process is connected somehow. If there's a delay at point A, by the time it reaches Z, it's going to be probably a really, really massive delay. Because it builds, it compounds, delays compound. So you could say that robots do, I would say, up to a certain point, remove the volatility.
Now, what do you think about how AI is going to be affecting freight forwarding in the future?
Very interesting. Okay, so AI will definitely affect freight forwarding, right? Freight forwarding specifically has a lot to do with data and numbers and things like that, right? So it'll most definitely streamline a lot of the processes, right? It'll streamline what I like to call the grunt work of logistics. Even if it comes down to placement in the warehouse. Right now, a human being physically has to, go into his inventory management and they have to look and see where can it go. AI might actually work out that it is better to put your goods at the end of the warehouse, close to not even the exit, maybe let's call it the fire escape, versus putting it right in front, close to the front door. To a human being, it might seem trivial, but to a robot, it might actually work out that it would streamline, once again, going back to the streamlining, to save time, money, manpower as well. So that would probably be one of the ways that it would change.
I guess you'd also be seeing like container configuration or other aspects of loading a container come into effect too, with either robots or with AI. Would you agree?
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Once again, from the time perspective, because a robot doesn't have to take a break.
Right.
And as I mentioned, time and logistics is very, very important. And of course, the consistency, going back to the consistency point, that is also doubly important. And of course, using AI, it can make decisions quicker. Because if I remember correctly, when my father was involved in logistics, I come from a logistical background myself. I can remember watching his workers actually physically having to plan it out physically with paper. Now today, anyone can even go online and use one of the many calculators and platforms that can actually tell you what is the most optimal way to stack and fill your container. That's probably one point from there.
So with everything that's happening in AI and with robotics moving forward into the future, what do you see as some of the challenges or opportunities for sellers?
Okay, great. So firstly, for sellers, now, if I can just tell you a little bit what I do and my function at
Sure.
Unicargo, then I will build on that to explain how AI will actually assist. So my main function is to help first-time shippers, right? Usually shippers who know absolutely nothing about logistics, very, very little about FBA, because, there is a wealth of information out there. Anyone can access it, but to actually understand it can sometimes be a little bit hard.
Right.
For someone coming up and, seeing the word SKU, SKU, right? I've had clients who come to me and ask me, what is an HS code? Why do I need an HS code? Right? Now, there are a lot of things are not mentioned, and there are a lot of things that are missing. And in the past, it was all about trial and error and discovering for yourself, as when I call it the Wild West, of e-commerce back in the beginning. It was nothing.
Right.
So what I do, and my role will probably be somewhat enhanced by AI and by robotics. Well, AI would be my role that would be enhanced by robotics and AI. So what would be really great for my clients is that they would be able to go on and type in their question. I'm located in Israel, and some of my clients are located in New Zealand and America and across the two sides of the world. So there's a time delay, right? I'm not always available. So in the off chance that maybe I'm unable to answer a question, eventually they'll be able to go online, type in their question, and get all of the information.
Okay. Now, you're talking about the new seller and the first time experience, and you're involved with that. Let's talk about that first time experience. So, and HS codes and before we go forward with any AI, let's just talk about that. If you're new, even if you're, if you've done this before, let's talk about what to expect. What are some of the questions that might come up that you get?
Well, the first question generally comes up and they ask, why is there an HS code, right? Why all of a sudden, after doing all of my courses, after looking online, speaking to my colleagues, my peers, what is this number? How does this number affect me? Now, I'm going to try and boil it down because HS codes are a massive subject. So I would just boil it down to saying that HS codes are very, very important to first-time sellers because from my own experience is that we see that profit can be drastically reduced if you do not understand what you are importing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all good to know that, okay, you're importing, for example, I'm going to use something that has very, very high tariffs. And this actually happened to a client of mine a few days ago, is that they were importing a wooden box. Now, if there's anyone out there who's ever tried to import a wooden box from China, you will know that there are additional tariffs to it. Right? Now, if I remember correctly, it was 3.7%, add 25% for, extra duties. So that is something that my client had no idea about. They had been building their entire Amazon dream, their entire e-commerce dream on this little box that they had been planning and saved. And this person actually took out a loan from the bank to start their operation. And it was virtually almost thrown off the rails by now having to pay the additional 25%. So versus 7.5% to over 32% tax that you pay at customs, if you put 5,000 US dollars into that, 32% of $5,000 is a pretty big difference between 7.5. So from the side of money and planning, HS codes are very, very important to understand. And additionally with that, with the HS code comes requirements, because the HS code will also tell you what it is. Where does it fit within the big taxonomy of products, of importing?
So I've heard a variety of different people talk about HTS or HS codes. Very interesting topic. One of the things that I've heard somebody just talk about was how they could manipulate the code. And so, and I'm talking about not providing a code that is acceptable. Like, for example, a type of soap. I used to bring in natural soap. The HTS code was quite high. And then I rechecked it and I found out I could bring it in as a Castile soap because it was olive oil based, which was 0. But if it didn't have olive oil in it, you could be in trouble. Because and I really want to bring that out, that do not make sure that when you have that code, and if you want to play the game of trying to get it for less, which you can, as long as it fits the parameter, but if you don't, you are opening yourself up for a major, what do we call it? Saying it politely, but let's just say kick in the butt, because the U.S. government has put in a law that says that not only can they go back a year or not the shipment, but a lifetime. So if you're bringing in those products, they can go back and claim if you've been changing and manipulating those for false codes, you might have a major penalty on your hand.
And a penalty is not only your only issue there. What I have heard now, again, when I do anything, I'm the most pedantic person when it comes to HS codes and importing. A lot of my clients actually ask me, Dune, why are you so focused on ensuring, why can't I use the HS code that I got from my supplier? Now we can speak about how, the differences. So if you, let's say, falsify any documents or any documentation, numbers, anything like that, you might get away with it now. But if audits are done, and let's say if you are caught, let's forget about the future, they go back and they look at everything and they find, but let's say that you falsify, you lie about it, right? If I'm correct with my terminology, that's a federal crime, if I'm correct. Yeah. Or something like that. And that has great consequences for you. If you are an importer, you can be banned, right? That is just one of the things. You can be banned from importing. You can be fined, really, really heavy fines. Your products the money and the cost not only goes into your time, but let's say that now they either want to ship it back or they want to destroy it. Either way, you're going to be liable for those costs. So going back to the whole thing of HS codes and ensuring, that your costs are known, all of that put together can really, really put you back and kill your idea before you even got started.
Yeah, and it comes to interpretation too, because you could be bringing in, like you were talking about, the same HS code. People are looking at it, no problem, and then you have that one person that interprets it a different way and could cause a problem. I'll give you an example. This is so stupid. So I used to make grandfather clocks, and we used to bring in each individual piece. So the hammers, the chimes, the movements, the lead, the holders, for the chimes, the chains. And we had this one idiot in Canada. And so we brought this in all the time. It came in a box, and that was the parts for the clock. The guy decided that he was going to interpret it a different way and say that everything had to have a sticker on it. So before it would clear, there was 300 different parts. Who would buy a grandfather clock with 300 different parts with a sticker on it? It was ridiculous. So every little chime had to put a sticker on. Every brass piece had to put a sticker on. Every lid, every nut that you had to have a sticker on it. It looked absolutely ridiculous. And this guy was just a jerk. And I had to go, I remember it was like 90 degrees into this warehouse and start stickering thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces. But that's why I'm saying this, is it comes down to interpretation, and just one idiot can cause you grief. So just make sure that you're solid with whatever HS code or HTS code that you have.
Totally. As I usually use this horror story. Speaking of, as you mentioned there, having to go. You said how many pieces was it? 300 pieces.
300 per clock.
Wow.
So
okay.
Who would buy that? First of all, it looks ridiculous.
No, I'm just trying to think of the time, and then that eats into your own, what I call, valuable time.
Yeah.
You could have been doing something else. You could have been doing something else towards your operation. That is a cost. It's a cost that comes out. So yeah, HS codes, to all of your esteemed viewers, know your HS code. Just know your product better than your supplier. That's usually what I say in your manufacturer. Because speaking of horror stories, I actually had a client who was importing. I'm just trying to think what it was now. It was a while ago. It was one of my largest clients. He was importing. What was it? It was not a soap. It was a cosmetic, right? Now I'm not sure if sometimes I'm not going to go into the deepness of the cosmetics. I'm happy to answer any of your questions later, but when it comes to these things, cosmetics are a bit of a gray area, right? Things like that. Can it be? Is it not? Very, very nuanced, right? And that actually goes for anything. And my client decided to go under the HTS code that the supplier gave, and went against our advice. Now, when I do something, I don't just say, just by myself, hey, this is the HS code. I send it. I physically double check, because I'm not willing to make a mistake. I double check it with our customs advisors. And it turns out that when it arrived to customs, it was a complete opposite of what it should be.
Oh.
And unfortunately, it was more than one container. I cannot say exactly how many, but it was a considerable amount. And there were many digits of losses and pain and headache and all of that, all because, they went with an HS code with a lower, they had a lower tariff.
Right.
For it.
Yeah. So you've got to make sure that it makes sense. So even if you take a look at it, just look at the definition of your code. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not. You could be paying a lot more or a lot less. Do you know Elena Saris?
No, I don't.
So she's a friend of mine, and she's been on the podcast, and she was bringing in these pylons, just road pylons, and they were classified. And so this is why you have to check this out. But they were classified as flaming pyramids. And and there was no way that hey, there was a problem. You can imagine flaming pyramids, and I don't know why they even said flaming pyramid. It was a road pylon, but it just goes into translation. You got to check these things, or you could be paying a hefty price. Now with AI, is there a way that has a role with classification?
I would think if we are able to standardize everything down to a point, right? Now, things are pretty standard and pretty set in stone, but as I mentioned, the nuances and the little differences, right? Just by changing now, okay, I will say that yes, AI can actually help, because a little background to this is that about a few days ago, I went to the supermarket here. And for the first time in my life, I used the self-checkout, right? I'm a little bit of a Luddite when it comes to things like that. A little bit of a Neanderthal, if you could call it that. I prefer to go to the actual person. And, usually when you use the checkout, you put your item on it, and then you punch in the code, or you say what it is. But this time I took a red bell pepper, and I just put it on the scale in front of me, and all of a sudden a camera that is clearly inside the machine told me that it was a red bell pepper, and it automatically scanned it. So it does exist. The technology does exist in the market, and it will be great, right? For very, very quick, classifications of what it is. Yes, definitely. But if I can use the example of metal here, products that are made out of metals, right? Depending on the concentration of the metal, the HS code might be different versus, and I'm not entirely sure how long it'll take us to get that a camera will actually be able to sample, right? If it was able to sample something, then I think it would be absolutely perfect. But up until now, I don't think that the camera will know if something is bronze or lead, just because you can paint over both of them. But there are definite applications in the future. And even now, I would believe, for just a very, very quick, just a quick definition of what it is.
So I found this out the other day. This is going down a different rabbit hole, But I found this out the other day, and I thought it was amazing. With an iPhone, I wanted to. I took a picture, and I was reading somewhere in my news feed that you can find out it can identify things. So sure enough, I took a picture of my dog, went in, and when I took the picture, I hit the I for information, and it said, "Oh, golden retriever." Then I was down here in North Carolina, and I wanted to. I don't know why, but of course, Murphy's Law. So, anyways, I wanted to find out what some of these trees were, and I started taking pictures of leaves. And sure enough, I hit the eye, and it comes up. I had no idea an iPhone. This isn't with any additional app. This is just on the iPhone. It can identify things. And I thought that was brilliant. So I've been using it a lot. Anyway, it's something that I've gone down a rabbit hole. It's at the bottom of the hour. We're a little bit past. And if you're a first-time listener, we normally will do a Wheel of Kelsey. What is a Wheel of Kelsey? It's at the end of the episode. We have a prize that we give away to a lucky listener. So to get to register, all you need to do is hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry. And today, I believe we have a prize. I think it's 3 months storage over at Unicargo. Is that correct?
I believe so. As far as
I think so. Anyways, we'll say that.
I can check with Rafael and
yeah. So let's put it this way: it's 3 months. I've got that in the notes.
Great. Okay.
But if it's not, I'll take care of the bill. So 3 months over at Unicargo. I'll make sure that comes out of Kelsey's pay for putting false information on the document. But hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. So, Kels, can you just let's go to a sponsor, and then we'll come right back.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skill and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show.
All right, so just a couple of other questions, and then we'll get into some of the listener questions. But I want to talk about Hyperloops and drones and how this is going to change delivery in the next year or two.
Okay. Very, very interesting. In fact, I think that this is my favorite question so far.
Okay.
About this. So Hyperloop, definitely, right? I do not think that I would be able to say that the Hyperloop would not change, deliveries. Drones, amazing. We've been seeing. Actually, where I live in Tel Aviv, I was walking down the street about a couple of months ago, and I heard a strange noise, a funny mechanical noise coming up the street. Now, again, I said I'm a little bit of a Luddite when it comes to certain things. So I look around and I see this little white box on tracks, on like tank tracks, just moseying up the street. And I look at it and I think, okay, I've seen a driverless car before. That's fine. They drive around the city all the time. And then I literally had to sit there, and I literally sat and scratched my head to think what it was. So I went home, and I was speaking with my neighbor about it, and she told me that those are actually a pilot program for an automatic bot or a droid or a robot to bring you your groceries, right, within the city. So once again, it is there. I do believe that Amazon has been testing, if I'm correct, they've been testing a lot of drone deliveries and things like that. I think it'll revolutionize everything once again, because although that there is a sad part that it removes the human out of it, because I really, really enjoy meeting the UPS guy, right? Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I see, the UPS guy or the FedEx, the DHL guy, So that is, so that is absolutely perfect. So, I think that it'll definitely streamline because it'll remove the human and the time out of it. Because remember that I mentioned earlier that about timing, right?
Yeah.
And about consistency. A bot, a drone, anything will be consistent, right? Because it is not a biological person. It doesn't have a family. It doesn't have to worry about the washing, going over, leaving the stove on, the oven. Doesn't matter. The bot is going to do its function.
Yeah, last time I checked, Walmart had two super centers now that are delivering, and they've probably spread it out to more. This was about 6 months ago. I was reading about this, but they have the superstores that they've taken out all the first cut and the McDonald's and like everything that was in that first section when you walk in, and they make it into a mini fulfillment center. Thought that was awesome. The other thing, I was at a friend of mine. He's on the podcast quite frequently. I was over at his place, Kevin King's. And what is he? He likes his little trinkets and toys. And all of a sudden, there's a robot. And he's got a robot now delivering drinks to people. So, and it's from Amazon. So it's an Amazon robot. It's really cool.
That actually reminds me of my trip somewhere. I'm trying to remember where I actually had a cocktail made by a robot. I'm just trying to remember where it was. Just like them making food and things like that. It's the exact same thing. It's right there. We're on the cusp of it.
Yeah, it was probably Kevin King's robot. He was moonlighting. Okay, so let's talk about how does AI, blockchain, data analytics, analytics. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Reshape supply chain, and what challenges may arise?
Okay, so firstly, something that definitely has changed is the blockchain. Right? Automatically, I can say that is going to be security, right? If I can bring in security now, specifically in logistics, security and hiding your information, right, is also very, very, very important because everything is recorded, right? And anybody can get in, into anywhere. So the blockchain will definitely improve probably the speed as well as the security for things like that. So it was blockchain and?
Yeah, so what I was kind of interested in is AI, blockchain, and data analytics.
Okay, great. Okay, so AI, when it comes to this, will also help greatly, right? Because I already mentioned it doesn't really remove you, it almost supplements. AI, I believe, will never really replace, but it will supplement your skills, right? And the current conditions. As I said, you can use AI for anything, right? And once you get into AI, data analytics is practically included in it. Let's say that, for the data analytics, you want to see, or even to forecast. What is it going to be like in the future, right? What can I expect in the future? So that can help you for planning as well. If I'm going the right way, if I'm not, if I'm missing something, please, please
go for it.
So yeah, so AI, and I believe that AI and data analytics will probably work together, right? How some of my clients, or in fact, how I sometimes do something, is that, let's say that my client asks me, Dune, what are some of the requirements, or have there been any issues in the past with importing, I don't know, leather into the United States, right? So I will go and I'll look on the AI and I'll look there and I'll type in, but again, you have to be specific with AI. Otherwise, it'll give you,
right,
a random string of information that's not even useful. So what I would usually do is I would tell my client, go and look on AI and ask the AI, for example, in the last 10 years, what have, for example, how have the requirements for the import of leather changed, right? You could be specific, and that can help you there. So that's from the client side. Now, from the side of logistics, and to increase it and to tap into the warehousing as we were before, also bring in data analytics, is that you can see all of the information in front of you. AI can sometimes maybe say, shipping from China to USA will be faster in May versus December because the water in the Panama Canal might be higher because of monsoon season, right? Now, those are just little bits of data analytics that can, and again, it's such a broad, application. There are so many things that you can use AI and data analytics for. It can also help you as a seller, right? Just like you can go on and you can, you can look up import records of various products, right? Now, for the untrained eye, it's actually very, very hard, to actually do that. It's hard for someone to look at it. And, if any of us have ever looked at an Excel spreadsheet, right? When you extract it out, you just get an Excel spreadsheet of numbers, right? AI can help you to read it, potentially create a visual representation of the trends that you're looking at. And it could also just do it for you, therefore saving you all the time. But as with everything that I say, and I'm known for this with my clients, for also saying that there is a drawback to that, right? Is that the human mind needs to be involved in that. You as yourself have to be involved when you're navigating things, even in the future. You yourself also have to know what you're doing, because you can ask AI a question and it'll give you a straight answer. Maybe you didn't ask the right question. Maybe you didn't input the right data.
Okay. So now I think we got a few questions here. Kels, you want to start with those?
Okay. Yes. Apologies. My internet up here is a little slow, but this is from Simon. Can you talk about the mess in the Red Sea right now? This is going to have massive impacts on freight movements for months. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Okay, sorry. Can you just say that again? Okay, I just blocked out for a moment there. Okay, I see the question. Okay, yes. Can you mention about the mess in the Red Sea? This is going to have massive impact. Okay, yes. There is no easy way of getting around this, right? One of the things, once again, going back to my original point of consistency and timing, right? Now, I'm going to explain the impact of the movement of freight for months. Is that yes, there's no way to say no, it is not going to. If we remember the issue with the Ever Given, right? That created backlogs going months afterwards, a lot of losses and things like that. So yes, it is going to have a massive impact in it. Prices are probably going to go up because for the first time in approximately 50 years, the only route to the west via the east is going to be via the Cape of Good Hope, right? Which adds an extra, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong today, about a 2 to 3 week potentially, once again. So yes, it is going to impact the movement. But of course, with logistics, we always find a way around it. There are always solutions.
Okay. Simon just mentioned 15 days added.
Okay, great. Yeah, 15 days, approximately 2 weeks, let's say, with that. So yeah, it will add time. And of course, with that time added, it adds cost for the fuel, cost for just everything. So of course, the price of shipments are expected to increase anyway, because it's actually at a really interesting time right now. The new year is coming out.
Yep.
Very, very soon. So I would say that, it is going to change. We're not entirely sure yet because shippers have not really posted their rates, for the upcoming year. But I wouldn't be too concerned. As I said, solutions are always found.
Okay, next question, Kels.
All right. Next question is, do most quotes from freight forwarders usually stay in the same range? Should you get multiple quotes?
Okay. Now, sometimes, okay, let me just explain it in the best way possible. So, freight forwarders quotes are dictated. Rates are dictated by different, let's call them stresses, right? Different things in the market. So firstly, it is always great to get a range of quotes. In fact, I always tell, please forgive me for bringing up my clients, but this is the only way that I'm able to explain it, is that I always tell my clients to go and get at least 4. Find at least 4 freight forwarders, 4 rates from anywhere. It can be from an online platform. It can be from a regular freight forwarder. It can be anywhere. Get all the quotes. Now, firstly, it's to also help you as well, because you are able to make an informed decision. I always tell my clients, be as informed as possible, even if it's at a detriment to me and I lose a sale or I lose this. I would rather know that I was being honest about what I'm doing, and they will get the best, of course, what is best for the client. So definitely get as many rates as possible, but no 2 freight forwarders will have the same price. It's just one of those things, that you cannot get away from.
And sometimes you get what you pay for.
Aha! Thank you very, very much, Norm. That is that is probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned myself, because I used to be involved in e-commerce myself. I was involved in about 2013 with Shopify, back when Shopify first got started. And I learned the lesson of good is not always cheap, and cheap is not always good, the hard way. So yes, just because something is cheap, it doesn't mean that it is the best. I mean,
Right.
If you have no other option, it's you and your luck. You are taking a risk. You go with what you decide. But sometimes the most expensive option might actually work out to be quite bad for you. So that's why I said get as many quotes as possible and research your freight forwarders like crazy.
Yeah, it is so important. Okay, last question, Kels.
Okay, last question is, where are your 3PLs located?
Okay, so we have warehouse locations literally across the world. In the United States, our most prevalent location is within the United States. We have warehouses on both the East and the West Coast, and also a few in the middle, right? All spread around the USA. So we have in the USA, we have in China, we have a warehouse in China, like, for example, again, if you have any specific questions about what we can do, I'm sure you can direct it to Norm or reach out to us. I don't know how, however. So we have locations in the USA and China, Germany, Slovenia is one that we've recently got, and India. We recently closed one in India. So I would say, to sum them all up, these are just a few. We have so many different locations. Our ecosystem is growing daily from what we can do. So I'd say India, USA, UK, Europe, general Europe, one as far as Slovenia as well. And then, of course, if it is required, we can also reach out to our own partners. In logistics, there is a lot of almost a feeling of family, right? And with us all being in the industry for quite some time, we have contacts all around. And if we cannot assist you, I can easily suggest, someone else who can. We have no problem in assisting.
Now, I just noticed a comment or a question from Simon. He was talking about if I win the Wheel of Kelsey, does that include warehousing in Germany?
I'm not sure about that. I'm really I'm unsure. I'm terribly sorry, guys. I just appeared here at last minute.
Right. No problem. So we'll get back to you on that, Simon, if you win. All right. Okay. So I think that's it, Kels. Is that correct? No more questions?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Okay. So let me see. I'll do my ad read and then we'll go to the Wheel of Kelsey. So hold back, everybody. Live ad read. And this is from Paul Raffleson over at Seller Basics, who I got to hang around with at the Kevin King, Chelsea Cohen, and Amy Weiss party last weekend. Okay. Hey, Amazon sellers, ever faced account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon accounts guardian. With just $99 per month, Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. No long-term contracts. Cancel with just a month's notice. View Seller Basics as your Amazon accounts health plan. Check out Seller Basics at sellerbasics.com. And here comes the disclaimer. Seller Basics isn't an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Results may vary. And this is an important one, membership required before events leading to claims. And last but not least, terms apply. All right, Kellis, let's head over to the wheel. Anytime. Or you could just leave me hanging here awkwardly. Just anytime, Kels.
My Wi-Fi is not working right now.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, let's get to the wheel. Anytime. Oh, this is awkward. Is anybody else feeling awkward?
My computer is completely glitching out right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we might have to do the wheel and post it in the group.
Just this. Try one more time. Sorry, everyone.
You want me to do a little song?
All right. Can you see it?
No. Oh, it's coming on now.
Okay.
There we go.
We're going to shuffle. Here we go.
All right, Simon. Here we go. It just stuck right to Simon. It didn't even spin.
All right. Well,
oh,
it
Drip
loaded and it says Drip. So Drip, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Okay. Yeah, congrats. So sorry about the Wi-Fi. I think we've got everybody in the house on it. So hopefully we can improve it on Friday. Okay. So I think that's it. Dune, thank you so much for filling in. That was awesome. You're off the hook and, you answered everything. So that was great. Also, contact information. How do people get a hold of you at Unicargo or Unicargo?
Yeah. Well, if you would like, you can get in touch with them on the screen there, or I will give you my, let me think, what is the best way to do it? Let me just see if I wrote that right. Okay, you can get hold of me on that. If you would like to ask me a question directly, with the greatest of pleasure, you can.
Okay.
And then, of course, if you would like to get a formal quote, you can log on to unicargo.com, and you can go there, and you can also put through a request on our website. So yeah, that is a way that you can do it. But if you want, if you have an urgent question, or if you're stuck or something like that, please feel free, ask out. I tell everyone who comes to my desk, you ask me a question, I will answer you. And although it says I see their senior consultant, I am more than happy to help both large shippers, small shippers, first timers, unsure. Anyone who has a question, feel absolutely free. Just reach out. I'm more than happy. I'm located in Israel, but I'm also able to be available for you in your time zone, if we can organize a good enough head start. So I'm able to help if needed.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Lunch with the